And here they are, unfortunately for Yuri and Subterror fans, he lost the die roll, which I feel is so important, and I don't think he picked up Shifter, but he plays Ash Blossom in the main deck? Let's check.
He doesn't.
Oh, he doesn't?
He just plays 3 Shifter and that's it.
Okay, because the card in hand looks a lot like Ash, but it's probably something else.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not Ash. Okay, so we see his opponent starting things off with a very interesting hand, actually, because I saw some bestials, which obviously are gonna be completely useless for the most part in this matchup. But at least he's starting things off in a way in which for other decks would be really good. I'm interested in knowing whether Baptiste has any clue what he's up against. Obviously, the later we feature this duelist, the higher is the chance that they were just sitting near to each other and could take a look at their decks. But I think round 10 is still probably not as late as it would be for something like that to happen. But it does have a Reinhardt, which makes this hand already significantly better. And without any interruption, he will be free to do whatever he wants. Obviously, we've seen this plenty of times. Kikalos will show up on the field, and then you can set up a board. But when you don't know what you're up against, this hand could also be a dweller. Because
in general, I think you go for that. I mean, blind dweller makes sense, honestly.
And you can see on top of the deck, he's already considering it.
Yeah.
And honestly, it is an issue.
Also, I think that arriving at this point in day 2, also, I think this is something that you don't really expect at all, like to play against Subterror. So,
absolutely. I mean, 7-2 is no joke of a result. It is being among the best players in Europe. And here we see Sherin being used with the Kelbeck. So maybe he knows what he's up against. And if he didn't, he will now take a look. Wow. And the Agido as well. This is going to be brutal opening by Baptiste. Wow. Milling 10 cards, but he's thinking about it. Because maybe if he's up against the mirror match, he's confident that he has already 2 shufflers. Honestly, I would mill every time here. Why would you not?
Yeah, because you already have 2 of them, so...
Yeah, you have 2 shufflers, but I think he only activated 1, maybe. Let's see. Ooh, and Dark Magician is sent off the top of the deck. But no, he activated both, so 10 cards are gonna be sent, and both Dark Magician and Red Eyes are sent, unfortunately, from the top of the deck.
And now I think Baptiste now will soon realize what he's up against, and I think after having started things off like this, we must be very confident, honestly. But again, I think you really need to find a good solution to, because like the Dweller, as for now, will be not useful at all.
We've had a discussion backstage yesterday whether which of us prefers Dark Magician or Blue Eyes White Dragon, but I don't know the answer to that question, and it's a tough one for any of you guys at home, I guess. But what I can tell you is that we haven't seen Blue Eyes going 7-2 at a day 2 of YCS in a long time. Dark Magician is there though, so that gives a point to good old Yugi, I can tell you that much. And now we get to see Crash Tearlaments come down as well. Yeah, this is a huge opening. You can do so much with this hand, and now you know you have knowledge. So, what do you think can change with this opening? Because you know you're up against Subterror, which I think is not a pleasant surprise.
Not at all, especially because Subterror, as we saw, he milled skill drain, so he's always on some limits, which is not useful at all at the moment. And I thought he was playing something like Gozen match, but he doesn't.
No, he's just playing the, as you mentioned, summon limit and skill drain. That's it.
So overall, I think that either going for the Stapelia might be a good solution, because basically you have the fill spell, you know, the hidden city, flipping up your monster, and then you can basically resolve the Guru. Because apart from that, honestly, I don't really think that going for something else might be relevant. You might go for the elf if you really feel like. Let's see what these mills are, but
yeah,
are
gonna
ready.
mill so many cars, just gonna pretty much go through the entirety of his deck, which makes it so that if you mill some of these cars, such as the Saliak, you just get even more resources for next turn. At the same time, as you can see on the screen, Mad Dragon, it's a really strong card against even rogue decks, such as Subterror, just to prevent targeting, and some of the cards that we have seen in the previous round as well, such as Compulsory. And now Rule Kalos makes an appearance. It obviously would have been really good against the Fusion, but with all the materials in the graveyard, that's not really an option anymore. And I think we've always mentioned a couple of times how the beauty of Yu-Gi-Oh! Is decks coming back time after time again. Sometimes adapting, such as in the case from Herman to the latest set, with new cards coming out. But sometimes just an old deck, no changes at all, can work as well. And I guess Yuri is trying to prove that this is the case for Subterror.
Yeah, and I really liked the deck back then. I think my last YCS I played was 2019 with Subterrors, honestly, when there was Salaman Great, actually.
And you couldn't name a single continuous trap card in the quiz. Okay, I see how it is. Maybe someone is sabotaging me to make the German commentators win, I guess.
Oi, oi.
Not only continuous, the counter traps. He couldn't name Solemn Warning after hearing Solemn Judgment and Solemn Strike.
I have no excuses.
No, you don't. But we'll take you just like this.
I felt the pressure.
Yeah, we can say that. And now we get to see the Redoer once again. Let's see if, just like last round, he will be able to pick up one of the few monsters in the deck, because that would be unfortunate. And yeah, that's it. Let's see what he will pick up. A trap would be really strong, and it is a trap card, so this makes this Redoer significantly stronger and makes this opening much more impressive from the French player. But as we know, Prosperity is one of the best way to start things off. There are a few interesting cards, especially in the side deck, I want to say. In the main deck, I don't think he's maining them much, right?
No.
Only going first cards.
Yeah, that's the issue here, because basically, like, going second, you don't really have much going on. And let's see what he reveals with Pot of Prosperity.
Okay, there are some interesting ones. Skill Drain is obviously really, really strong. Eden City, also really good. So, a lot of options among these cards, depending whether he needs a trap or just the engine to go through. Necro Valley is actually the pick, it seems.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. So Necro Valley being picked up, obviously really good, but at the same time I want to say, compared to other rogue decks such as the one from Herman, usually Subterror needs a field spell. So you would think that Necro Valley would work slightly less than other matchups. But here we see finally the Guru coming down. Great card. And he's actually gonna use its effect to put the Redoer face down, it seems.
Yeah, and if he has the fill spell, honestly, that will be also very big. But I don't know, like here, yeah, I think, yeah, you force your opponent to activate the Redoer.
Then you can discard the Fiendes, maybe. But let's see what's going on from Yuri.
I think he has the fitness, right?
Yeah, I think so as well. And he does, so he's gonna use the Fiendes to negate the Redoer altogether, but this seems kind of underwhelming, I wanna say, because Fiendes only negates, doesn't destroy.
Yeah.
So his opponent will get to keep the Redoer, simply changing it to defense position, which honestly, it's not that great. And yeah. Yeah, Redoer shouldn't be destroyed. Yeah, it's only face down, that's the issue. It doesn't destroy, it just puts it face down, which you can see Baptiste. I mean, you can't blame him. Most of Yu-Gi-Oh cards, most of modern Yu-Gi-Oh cards that negate auto destroy. But wow, look at this mills. This is so much advantage, and I see a Solemn Strike, a Crackdown in the end, but I think those cards are not enough going second.
No, exactly, because especially, I mean, now facing Baptiste Fields, you're in trouble, because basically now with the ovnis being milled alongside the other trap card, honestly, you're in trouble. And as you mentioned, going second, you don't really have much going on, especially because Yuri is not playing any cards of chess. Gozen Match, for example, or Lava Golem.
Yeah. And he's now able to go for a Kaleido Art, just getting rid of the only protection from his opponent. This seems like it will go Baptiste's way quite smoothly in game one.
Yeah, and here, honestly, it gets very complicated for him. I think he's only holding the strike and the crackdown, right?
Yeah, he has Strike, Crackdown, and Necro Valley. And Necro Valley is really good against Tearlaments, but not against this field. Like, look at this. All that Baptiste needs to do is just switch his monsters to attack position, and he has an easy time. Yeah, he should have changed that earlier. Now it's too late to do so, but honestly, that doesn't really matter. Play is back to Baptiste. You can see him being a little frustrated with forgetting about the Necro Valley, but I mean, it's really not that big of a deal. He will now pick up his cards, switch everything to attack position, and unfortunately, although there are a lot of trap cards in Yuri deck, there is no Mirror Force.
Yeah.
So this is really tough at the moment. He will activate a Crackdown, most likely to get a monster. Then we're gonna see a Redoer, and then the Solemn Strike, which it's not that useful, I have to admit. I think you are forced to probably take the Kaleido here, which makes it your only hope. Maybe if you take the Kaleido with the Crackdown, you negate the Redoer with the Strike, you have a slim glimmer of hope. A glimpse of hope. Well, let's see. Yeah, and this is exactly the play that Yuri is going for. Thanks to the Solemn Strike, he will be able to stay in this game and hope for the best. And this is what exactly is gonna come down. Yep. As expected, the Solemn Strike coming down, negating, and this time destroying the Redoer finally. No, that's not his card. Yeah, that kind of a mix-up. He should give his opponent the Subterror trap.
Yeah.
And yeah, he takes the Kaleido Art with the Crackdown, which is its last line of defense. Everything, and all of his hopes are in there. Is it really gonna be enough? I see a Druid Swarm, so worst case scenario, you can just normal summon it and just use it for a Link Summon, which is enough for game. So I think, and I hope that Baptiste will see this line. Yeah.
Because I can't really think of anything else, right? I think that's the play to go for. Because otherwise, how do you deal with the Kaleido Heart in defense? I think that is seeing the move. Yeah.
Yeah. He does see the move, well played here by Baptiste, who recognizes he can just normal summon it as mentioned and use it, which is gonna be really well played to push enough damage for game after going into, for example, a Dark. So, the Dark Charmer, I would say. But I think he passed back. Yeah. Interesting. Is he not playing Dark in the extra deck? In the extra deck.
It does.
Yeah. Interesting decision here by the French player. We saw how last turn he was a little frustrated with his line, and maybe, yeah, he didn't see this, which is weird because he went for the normal summon of Druid Swarm, so it seems as if everything was leading to this line of play, but instead he's now giving his opponent a chance to fight back. And Yuri is gonna do so, not in the most spectacular way, by setting a monster face down. And now we are gonna see another normal summon. This type of Magnamote doesn't go for...
Okay, goes for the
summon.
wall though.
Yep. Finally goes for a monster, and it is the Wallow, which again, it's not gonna be able to use its effect because of Necro Valley, but at least he's gonna be able to boost every of his monster attack by 100 for each card in the opponent graveyard. And attacks over the Guru, which is now gonna give his opponent a +1. Definitely an interesting line of play. I feel like Baptiste is taking a lot more risks than he should have. Hopefully he doesn't get punished for it. We have seen multiple times this happen. Playing on stage is no joke, and especially when you're doing so in day 2 and you're basically on the bubble, we can say, because an X3 record is very tough. Maybe 1 or 2 can slick into the top cut, but for the most part, if you lose, you're out. So a lot on the line. And now we see the Zeus finally coming down, gonna clear the whole board and bring back some of these Tearlaments monsters from the graveyard. Yeah, checking what he has left in deck. It has been a long game nonetheless, basically 15 minutes down the line. And yeah, he gets all of his Tearlaments cards back. He gotta send one from the graveyard. And again, just like we mentioned before, Yuri is unfortunately not playing many cards to fight back from a situation like this. So I am pretty sure now, although taking a little more than he should have when taking this game 1, Baptiste is in a really, really comfortable spot. And I think if you're Yuri, you should really consider picking your cards up again because of end of the round.
Yeah.
Sure, there are 30 minutes, but your deck needs to win 2 games. So it's not the fastest at doing it. We have seen Herman not TKing, but this is not the case for Subterror. The deck is much slower.
No, exactly. Especially because, like, I think Yuri is only left with 1 card in hand, right? So honestly, I can't really think of a card that could help him out coming back into this game.
There is really no card, no single card such as that, especially with the fusions being gone. Not that Rule Kalos could have negated them, so here just, you know, the nail on the coffin with this Perle Rhino, and Yuri just trying to keep his mind focused as much as possible, maybe already thinking about what to side deck for next game when he's gonna go first, so he's gonna have a huge advantage considering the amount of trap cards he's playing. And yeah, he already normal summoned this turn as he went for a Bestials to then go for the Wallow. So the judge luckily reminded him about it. He's not gonna send cards from the top of his deck, it seems like. But that's mandatory, so yeah, he's playing a little too fast, I wanna say. He has to resolve his effects first and just send some cards from the top of his deck. Yeah, and as you can see here, well, aboard, Baptiste has managed to accomplish here so much stuff going on. And I think play will be back to his opponent. Our judges had just informed that he received a slow play warning, which means we have a 3-minute extension in our match. So Baptiste will need to be careful, because another slow play warning will cost him a game lost, and you really don't want to give away a win like this at this stage. But yeah, now Yuri gets the Eden City once again, trying his best, but I really don't see how he's still in this game.
Yeah, because honestly here with the Eden City you can get back either the fitness or the guru, but honestly, as mentioned, with the 27 minutes remaining on the round and being this game is very close, honestly I will consider, if I were Yuri, picking up his cards if he doesn't really find a way to come back into this, because honestly Baptiste feels is very impressive, and dealing with that, I think he has another, maybe 2 copies of Eden City in his hand, another one. Let's see what he decides to go for.
Yeah, and now, as you can see, his opponent just sets face down a monster and plays back to Baptiste, who has literally nothing to do other than attacking for game. And we will soon go to game 2, which was to be expected, considering the great opening and that Baptiste had. He was able to mill 10 cards from both with Kelbeck and Aguido, which is always a really nice feeling when you know that you cannot get punished by doing so, and by the cards that you mill off your opponent deck. So
and yeah, I think Yuri picked up his cards and we are now going into game 2.
as expected, Baptiste is the winner of game 1. Really one-sided duel this time around. He went first, made a huge combo. For a moment there, he actually was panicking a little bit because of Necrovalli plus Crackdown, and I think he could have closed this one much earlier. But at the end of the day, it might not be in his best interest regardless. So he was able to keep his composure, find out the winning play by normal summoning his Bestials into the Wallow and Zeus. So at the end of the day, still well played. And now it's Yuri who goes first. Will use a lot of his trap cards, but he has quite a few more in the side deck, right?
Yeah, he has 3 Soul Judgment and 3 Soul Drains, honestly, that are very scary.
Absolutely, all the drains, so Skill Drain, Soul Drain coming in. Mind Drain, unfortunately not, but maybe next time. But yeah, Soul Drain, amazing card in this matchup, and we still haven't seen it, so I'm definitely looking forward to that. On the other side, I think, just like before, the trend for this weekend is to cut the spell and trap removal. So what are the hopes for Baptiste?
Nice question, honestly.
Because
looking at the side deck,
zero. Zero. 0 outs in the side deck for Baptiste. Not even a single Lightning Storm, Feather Duster, nothing. There is nothing in this man side deck that can be used in this matchup. Only the Tearlaments Crime, which is obviously good going first, but going second not so much. So I'm kind of worried for him. At the same time, there are 3 copies of our all-time favorite Dark Hole Erbudo, which can come in here against Guru. They can be negated by the Fiend, but you'll try your best.
It's okay. It's okay. I mean, at least you can side out some Bestials, which
which are completely useless. I mean, we did put in some work, normal summoning them, those cows, we can call them. But yes,
La Mucca.
La Mucca. But for now, I think Baptiste will have a tough time regardless. You're going second against a trap deck, so your hope is probably try to stay in this deck as much as you can in this duel, and then game 3, you're going first, you're going to make a huge board, and hope for the best. Worst case scenario, there is always a concern, but spoiler alert, if we ever get to that time, Baptiste is not playing Scattershot, but he's playing something else. Let's see who guesses it. But yeah, now our duelists are ready, so let's go to game 2. And here they are, of course, Yuri looking. He really wants to pick up the Hidden City or Red Eyes Fusion. Ooh, and I see, unfortunately, a Red Eyes, but it is not the Fusion. It is Red Eyes. That's it. Yeah.
Still, I think with this end, you kind of feel very confident, especially... I mean, Yuri doesn't know that Baptiste is not playing any Lightning Storm, Twin Twister, and Cosmic Cyclone. So
Yeah.
And
if he did, he was worried.
Yeah.
As he doesn't, this end is still solid, solid, solid. Because of a card among them all, which is the all-time favorite, Summon Limit.
Yeah.
The OG, one of the really annoying ones to deal with. And when you pair it with a card like Solemn Strike, that's even worse.
Yeah.
Of course, there is Perle Rhino. That's the number one priority, I think, for Baptiste. If he has a copy of the Fio spell, Summon Limit is super easy to deal with. But instead, a normal summon of Avnis. Interesting. Wow. Wow, wow, wee, wow.
No?
Yeah, interesting.
Ah, okay, Dark
And there
Hole.
is the Dark Hole. Ooh, this is actually quite annoying. As mentioned, really, really strong here.
Yeah.
Wow. We mentioned that one of the few cards that he could have sided in was Dark Hole. He pairs it alongside Avnis. Is Yuri gonna be forced to use the Solemn Strike here? I think Baptiste could signal a weekend, which I think makes sense if you go for the strike. But instead he's gonna allow it, which I think is a huge risk, because now if you strike the Kid Kalos, they get to mill 5. So maybe a wrong decision by Yuri. Yeah, I really don't like this strike. At the same time, I guess it makes sense because of Summon Limit. You might want to allow him to mill and just use the Summon Limit afterwards. But, I mean, he's taking a risk.
Baptiste instead sets 1 and passes.
Yeah, because he's just going to use it on the Summon instead, not on the effect, to just prevent the millings. It was an interesting decision, but yeah, Yuri gonna just speed through this, and we see an Agido.
Ooh.
Interesting. Okay, so Agido gonna mill 5. Let's see if there is anything interesting. I see a Shuffler, I see Shayrin, maybe a Ravnis. Yeah.
I think a few names and I think at least one Shuffler. So good from Baptiste. And we didn't get the chance to see last Yuri's set card, honestly. We know that one of them is the Subterror Final Battle, and he has the Summon Limit, which he's still holding. Okay, it was the Crackdown, I think. Okay, now the Summon Limit is being activated from Yuri. And as mentioned, Baptiste on the other side doesn't have any other interruption to stop the Summon Limit, as he's not playing any copy of Twin Twister or Cosmic Cyclone. Okay, now it goes for the Fusion Summon.
Yeah, and now it goes for a Fusion Summon. As mentioned, Baptiste did choose not to mill with Kikalos, so maybe he just thought he couldn't because of the strike.
Yeah.
Which is weird enough, but now finally Summon Limit comes down, but the worry is that life points are an issue. And this was the case just for Herman, as it was, but the Crackdown top deck is huge here from Yuri. He was left with nothing, and he top decked the card that mattered the most, one of the few that could have saved him, which is Crackdown to take his opponent, Rule Kalos. Wow.
Yeah, buys him some time, and honestly here for Baptiste this is very bad news, especially because now, yeah, he's forced to activate the card in the graveyard, yeah, shuffles back.
Yeah, just gonna get back some of the cards you can top deck, such as the Darkle. I don't mind the Darkle, so
Yeah.
why not? Might as well try to pick up another one. Already playing 3 copies, might shuffle the 4th back. So at the same time, Crackdown, as you mentioned, gains him some time, but doesn't really apply the pressure because you cannot attack or activate the effect. So it's just a wall, we can say. And yeah, play is back to Yuri, who will top deck, looking for the Hidden City. Can he pick it up, or is he just gonna pass back to his opponent? It does set one more and plays back. This one will be a long one, I can tell you that much. With 18 minutes remaining, as mentioned, we could be in here for a while they both try to fight back. And yeah, that's the case. As we mentioned, there are no outs for summon limit outside of Perle Rhino plus a shuffler in the deck from Baptiste. So he's really trying to find the field spell.
Yeah, he doesn't even play L'Istinto.
And no, he does not. But instead, it is Yuri who finds his own copy of the field spell Hidden City, which makes it much harder for the French player to stay in this game, because Subterror can get so much advantage turn after turn when you have the Hidden City set up.
Yeah, now we can set the Guru, activate Hidden City, flip the Guru,
Yep.
then activate Guru. Can make a lot of things here. Let's see what he decides to go for.
Absolutely, and Hidden City reminds me of a great playmat that was won at the LDS finals a few years ago as the prize, and there was one in Italy by Federico Mecozzi nonetheless, the only final he has ever won in Ravenna. But it is what it is, still a final, still a final. And now, as expected, you get to the fitness, which makes it even tougher. It is one of the cute things I would say about Subterror, because after siding, essentially you have an out against their outs. But
Yeah.
in this case, there is no out. So basically, it is there mainly for Darko, we could say. So maybe we could see it not using it, but he attacks. Was it in the same column as Crackdown, or?
No, okay, because he flipped it face down with the
Yeah.
Guru, and then he flipped it face up. So, okay,
Exactly.
that's why. Yeah. And now this is very, very difficult for Baptiste to come back, honestly, without having anything else.
Yeah,
to
because now
deal.
there is real pressure coming from the Subterror player.
Because even if you do the Dark Hole, Yuri has the fitness in his hand. So.
Yeah. And you can see here Baptiste just trying to stay in this, looking for a top deck that might not even exist, honestly. And yeah, I mean, 15 minutes remaining, still some time. Gonna shuffle back a few cards, just for the sake of it. Maybe giving his opponent some bad top decks or trying to do so. And yeah, he's done with his activation. Again, gotta keep in mind that he doesn't want to waste too much time or play too slow, because he has been issued already a slow play warning. So if he has to receive another one, he would be knocked out of this duel if he loses game 2.
I would have used the final battle, honestly, on the Guru, just set it, no? In the end phase. Then the final battle comes back. But anyways.
We're still in the end phase, so he might use it. But he heard you, maybe. Let's see, yeah. Yeah, he's
Okay,
gonna use
yeah.
it. So as you mentioned, we're still in the end phase. He's gonna flip the Guru face down, get back the final battle for next turn, and this is the setup I was telling you guys about. When you leave this much space of action to the Subterror deck, every turn they get a +1 at least, which is getting out of end real soon.
Yeah. I don't know if he milled the Archer, but that might be helpful here, just to shuffle back Baptiste set monster, if he really feels like.
Yeah, and also if he kept it, it might be one of those cards you side out even. So we'll figure it out, but it seems like he just added another copy of Final Battle to the end. He can push some damage here. You can also use the Final Battle offensively, of course. And yeah, just gonna go to the battle phase, push some damage, get rid of a Kelbeck, attack directly, and use the Final Battle in the damage step to even deal more damage, leaving his opponent around 800 life points or something like that. And yeah, this will be tough. So 1200 left for Baptiste, because it's 34, yeah. And now it's one last turn for the French player. Can he come back into this, or are we gonna see a game 3 real soon? He's trying, at least by normal summoning the Rhino Heart, to send a Tearlament to the deck, and probably summoning Kaleido Heart in doing so. Yuri allows it, as this is already the first summon of the turn from Baptiste. But instead, interesting, he goes for the Kashtira, milling 2 cards from the top of his deck, trying to get lucky. Let's see what they are. Terraforming and a Rhino. Really awful mills, and he picks up his card. So we are going to game 3, 1-1. Close match nonetheless. Again, with these trap decks, you never count them out. It has been a close one, but now we're going to game 3. This time though, it is Baptiste going first. I left you guys hanging before the start of game 2 by guessing what card Baptiste has in his side deck with this hand gesture, and well, it is Gaga Cowboy. There are still around 11.5 minutes left, so we'll see if he decides to bring it in. It kind of surprises me because Scattershot, as we saw, you can just mill it. Yeah. When you start milling 10, you don't need it to go into a Cowboy, which is a lot more demanding. But at the same time, depending on the opening, if there is a shifter once again, we could see a very different game. We haven't seen yet a shifter in the past few games, and today, we can say. Yeah. And at the same time, Red Eyes Fusion is there, which is very aggressive going second.
Yeah, also going second, I think Yuri is, I think he has a lot of different options, no? Dark Ruler no more, evenly matched, Lightning Storm if it really feels like.
Yeah, he has 9 cards for going second, 6 for going first, so we'll see those. At the same time, always gotta keep your clock in mind, because Dark Lure No More, really strong card, but you cannot deal any damage. So if they dealt even the 500 from Scattershot or the 800 from Gaga Cowboy, you don't afford to activate. You cannot afford to activate Dark Ruler. So it's an interesting solution. On the other end, though, we have mentioned how his opponent does not have that much for going first outside of Tearlament Crime. It probably will be interesting to see whether he keeps those Dark Holes going first. But regardless, I think that's pretty much it. Yeah. Maybe there is a word in which he sides in super polymerization just to use it on his own monsters, but I don't know. It would be cool if, since he saw that his opponent is playing the Dragoon, because that's a great target for super polymerization. So to be fair, I could consider it, or maybe just a one copy, because why not?
Yeah.
But regardless, our duelists are getting ready for the start of Game 3. One of them will most likely be kicked out from the top 64 right now. The other advancing with an 8-2 record. Let's find out who will be the winner of Game 3 and round 10. And here they are, almost ready, shuffling the remainder of their decks, and it all comes down to this. 9 minutes remaining, not too much time left in this round, but lot of things that can speed up this one.
Yeah.
Shifter among them all.
Yeah. If Yuri picks up a shifter, honestly, that will be very, very, very huge for him. And let's see. We haven't seen one today so far. Maybe will it be the time?
We don't want to jinx it, of course, for the French player, but it could be a matter of seconds. And here they are ready to draw for one of them. It could be the last important end we could see of the tournament. So it's a really, really important final duo. And it will be Baptiste who goes first. Good luck to both. And now let's take a look at these opening ends. In the meantime, we can go back to us while they finish up the start of this duel. And yeah, as we are getting ready for the duel, we'll check on the timings to find out what and how much time they took while siding, because we know it's always a matter of seconds, minutes, whether they can figure out what to put in for this specific matchup. So in general, as we were mentioning, what do you think is the #1 priority for Baptiste to side out in this matchup?
Honestly, he's playing bestials, which are not useful at all. But on the other side, the thing is that in his side deck, he doesn't have so much going on. There's the Tearlaments Crime, which is, of course, useful by going first. And given that there are 9 minutes remaining on the round, the Gagaga Cowboy will be going into this extra deck. But apart from that, honestly, you cannot really afford to side out a lot of cards. Like, if you really feel like you can side Dark Hole in even going first, that will be a solution, just to side out any other cards that will not be useful in this matchup. But I think that overall, as we saw in Game 1, honestly, Yuri's deck list is, of course, consistent on one hand, but if it goes second, in Game 1 he has problems, especially because he plays a lot of going first cards, and doesn't play Gods and Match, he doesn't play Evenly Match in the main deck. So basically, if he loses the dice roll, as we saw in Game 1, if he doesn't see Dimension Shifter, he might be in trouble. On the other hand, though, I think his side deck is very consistent. He's just played all 3 offs. And when going first, he has Solemn Judgments, Soul Drains, and then when going second, I think he has very good solutions for our meta decks. So Evilly Match, I think it's one of the most generic ones alongside with the Lightning Storm. And then also Dark Ruler No More, it's I think one of the must of the deck, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. At the same time, as we mentioned, this is one of those deck lists where it's really extreme. Sometimes we have seen, such as in the case for Merman, where he's playing all of these going first trap cards, but at least he's maining evenly matched, and he's maining some cards that are good for going second as well. For Yuri, it's really one-sided, outside of I mean, Shifter, of course, but it's both good at going first and second. There is one copy of Feather Duster in the main deck, which is honestly surprising. But outside of that, there is no card for going second in the main deck. So taking going first, I win, going second, I lose kind of approach. And it is working out for him. But in the side deck, as mentioned, he's trying to come up with ways to solve this issue. And it's working out, I guess. But at the same time, on the other case, we can take a look instead of his opponent deck, which on the other hand is more or less something we have seen. The Herald of the Orange Light is in the deck, which, for example, for Anastis was crucial to give him a game 1 victory, and could be the case even here, because if you negate the Guru from adding right away and you discard an Agido or a Kelbeck, then the advantage gets out of hand. And compared to our Duelist, which we have seen only play maybe 3 or 4, he's playing the full 12 Fairies package, so free Agido, free Kelbeck, and I think this is great news when you're paired against a deck like this.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we've seen it, you're not, or you don't really want to mill them right away on turn 1. When you play against a deck like this, you know you can, you will try to mill as much as possible to just guarantee as much an advantage as possible.
No, I really agree. Honestly, from what we've seen so far this weekend from our players relying on Tearlaments, either I think Herald of Orange Light should be a must, in my opinion. I mean,
Absolutely.
we have seen how impactful the card is, and on the other hand, I think that the lineup more or less was some Bestials, not the full package. Honestly, we have seen our players relying on usually 5 to 7 Bestials, and then Infinite Impermanence being played either in the main deck or in the side deck. I think this makes sense, especially because, like, as we saw from the numbers, 33% of our players relied on Tearlaments this weekend. So I think that that choice is paying out, as for now. And what surprised me, honestly, is that the approach changed significantly from YCS Dortmund in the sense that the side deck is more or less the same, but like not having Lightning Storm that we saw previously, or even Cosmic Cyclone, if we want to cite Twin Twister, for example. But anyway, these removals that are somehow needed, no, especially in the very first rounds of a YCS this big, in which you can basically pair up against any other deck.
Yeah, I mean, the number one answer to that question is Mystic Mine.
Yeah.
Mystic Mine is gone. In Dortmund, it was played by most duelists, even in the main deck, and by almost any deck, in even 3 copies. And that was an issue for most of these decks. Now that Mystic Mine is gone, they know that against combo decks or against other Tearlament decks, they're not really going to need those kind of cards, and they don't want to draw those kind of cards. So essentially the goal is I just want to beat the decks I'm more likely to play against, I would say, in a field like this. Then if I'm paired against one of these decks, I'll just try to win the die roll, and at the worst case scenario, it will probably come down to a 50-50, as in the case from Yuri, I want to say.
Yeah.
So I think Herman made a wise choice by putting some going second cards, so at least it's not as extreme as this, and when he goes second, he still has a solid chance. But I agree with you that some of these duelists are maybe not as careful as you should be, especially I want to say when we take into the picture Triple Tactic Thrust, because a trend again has been to play 3 copies of Triple Tactic Thrust, and that just side in cards like 1 Lightning Storm, because you can search it. But the issue is, if the deck you're up against is actually a proper trap deck, which doesn't use monster effects, the Trust is completely useless. So you only have 1 copy instead of the 4 you think you have by siding 3 Trust and 1 Storm. Regardless, I think it's a matter of decisions. The formats are evolving completely rapidly and quickly, changing week after week with new releases and new Forbidden Limited lists. So you can't really settle, and duelists had to quickly adapt to changes and prepare for this event. Still, we have among the decks, and we will be able to show you guys the breakdowns for the event later on as we go. A lot of different duelists competing, but still some of the high caliber players up there doing well, some on the bubble, some already locked in for Top Cut, because this was the official first round in which you could be locked in, because 10-0 guarantees you, of course. I want to say even 9 and a draw, but this is the first time where we have some locked-in duelists for Top Cut, which we will see later on in Top 64. And of course, we have some good names as well. We don't want to spoil them right away, but at the same time, I want to say some of the duelists were also knocked out. For example, you know, Diego. The Flowander is God.
We were not expecting this, honestly, because this was the last tournament on which Diego wanted to play his Flowander's deck, actually, and it was 3-0, I think.
Absolutely.
And then
And he got
went like
unfortunately
this.
knocked out. However, we are finally ready to show you guys the end of Game 3 with about 9 minutes remaining on the clock. Our duelists are ready. Let's find out who will be the winner of round 10. And here they are, as mentioned. Baptiste is the one who will go first, and he does so with an end that is looking like it will be a Kelbeck Mill 5 to try and fish for some of his tier names, and he does it at least one, and aside the Rhino. So it's a pretty decent meal. Interesting that we see the Feather Duster from Yuri in the graveyard.
Yeah, he kept it, which honestly, I mean, it's okay, nothing super special, but once again, no shifter being drawn, and Baptiste looks like opened up a very good hand on his side. And
absolutely. As you might have noticed, we had to wait to check just how long our duelist sided, because it was slightly over the 3-minute marks extension, which is why they have received a 3 minutes extension, and time is now back to 10 minutes and 30 seconds for this game 3. So.
And I think we could be seeing something closer to what we saw in Game 1, in which basically Baptiste went for the Rook Kalos plus the Kaleido Heart. I think this end might be what he was looking for, honestly, and without having any response from Yuri, which is not playing, as we said, Ash Blossom, for example, or Infinite Impermanence.
He does get, though, the side deck Crime, which is a great tool against any deck really going first, and especially against a rogue deck such as Subterror. Debating his options, really doesn't want to take too much time, but he could go for the Cowboy if he feels like it.
Yeah, he already has the option. It depends on what his ideal end board would be. Here's the Cowboy, just in case.
And now he's gonna go for the Stapelia, and let's see if he goes for the safe Redoer line, or if he actually goes all in with the Cowboy. Okay, he's debating it. I see the Cowboy in the end, taking his time. I mean, it's not an easy decision, honestly. And he just sets 2 cards face down and pass. At the end, he doesn't feel like it, but it doesn't feel like going for the Redoer either, which is interesting to me. I think if you don't go for the Cowboy, you go for the Redoer for sure, considering the amount of trap cards in the deck for Yuri. It just turns into such an amazing card.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I would have gone, honestly, either for one of the two. Consider that there's 8 minutes remaining, honestly.
Yeah, but the issue is that once he goes for the Stapelia, then the Crime would have been useless. He needs to have a Tearlaments monster, and here you see why.
Okay.
He has to negate the evenly matched with the Crime, so at least well played by him in recognizing it. And yeah, the evenly match is negated. He will go now for a fusion summon, probably getting the Kikalos back once again to the field, abstractly. But let's see if maybe there is a second evenly matched.
Oh, might be.
That would be interesting for sure. Now you can get back a card for next turn, you can get the Avnis, you have a few options. Definitely getting something like the Rhino would be interesting, I feel like. And yeah, he goes and send the Suliek. He doesn't want to top deck it, instead goes for it, and I cannot tell which Tearlaments monster he added to his hand. And we see the Red Eyes Fusion. Wow.
This is going to put a lot of pressure on Baptiste's side.
This is huge.
Yeah, and we will be seeing the Red Dice Dark Dragoon.
Gonna be a close one.
Yeah, I would say it's been a while since we last saw.
Absolutely, but this is one hell of a powerhouse card. So strong. It does so much because it does damage, so now its opponent is in trouble.
Yeah.
Cannot be destroyed by card effect. Cannot be targeted by card effects. So it's really tough to deal with it. And as you see, you can just destroy 2 monsters and inflict damage equal to the original attack. So this is a really good position now for Yuri, dealing a lot of damage to his opponent.
Opening things up with both evenly matched and the red dice fusion, honestly, that's what the deck is really aiming for. Yeah, he gets rid of 2 monsters, and looks like Yuri also has, I think, 4 cards remaining in his hand, so maybe there's a couple of trap cards as well.
Yeah.
And now Baptiste is going to use the Mudoras to just shuffle back some cards, as the red dice fusion has been already used. Is going to shuffle it back, so that will be useless.
And it is here, as mentioned, gonna shuffle his decks, but Dragoon does not target, so he will destroy
the
Kid Kalos.
Yeah.
And this will be devastating by Baptiste, who maybe did not realize this, or he did just to mill the 5 cards, unless his opponent wants to negate it. So this is so bad for Baptiste. He loses his whole field, takes 5,000 life points, and with just 5 minutes remaining on the clock, it looks like Yuri might be in a really comfortable spot here. But now we get to see a couple of mills. These are really, really important, and I think it's a whiff completely. Wow.
Wow.
Really unfortunate here by Baptiste, completely whiffing with this Kashtira Tearlament.
Very unfortunate. And now I think it's left a top deck, right?
Face down card from Yuri. Gonna take a look at the graveyard. Nothing threatening there. So play is back to his opponent, who needs a miracle to come out of this. One way to do it could be a Perle Rhino maybe, but he really is in a tough spot. Yeah, you can see him just checking the graveyards and maybe realizing that there is not much he can do. I don't think he looks like a man who knows how to come back, and he does.
Wow.
He extends the fist bump and he loses this top deck in polymerization.
Yes, I've just been told that the current winner, Yuri, doesn't actually speak English, so we're going to get Marcello over, who's going to be able to translate to Italian for that interview. We're just grabbing them now. So in the meantime, I'll fill. Quite an interesting game, though. It was interesting seeing what happened. I think a lot of people were thinking in game 1 there was going to be a scoop, but it ended up going for 20 minutes. Marcello, come over here. We'll wait for Yuri just over here. So I've been told that he doesn't speak in English, so that's over to you. So how did you think of that, just while we're waiting for the player? How did you find that game?
Really, really cool match, honestly. I mean, Subterror is not a deck you see every day. It is the only player, actually, in day 2 with it in the whole event. So it's impressive that he's still in, and great chance to advance to the top cut. So I want to hear it from the man himself.
And here is the man himself. I will hand you the microphone, and I will let you do
much, Ed. Ciao, congratulations. So guys, I'll try to just switch, ask him a few questions in Italian and then translate them for you. So, anzitutto congratulazioni, bravo, complimenti. Abbiamo visto che giochi un mazzo molto particolare, quindi Subterror. Ti volevo chiedere la scelta, come mai, so why is he playing this deck?
Ho giocato questo mazzo perché sinceramente era l'unico che c'avevo, però a furia di giocarlo da tanto tempo comunque sono riuscito ad avere tanta confidence e sono riuscito a mettere comunque delle buone tecce per affrontare questo meta che era palesemente Tieri Shizu, e comunque finora hanno tutto sommato premiato. Il mazzo può permettersi carte molto forti, tra cui Shifter, che in questo formato è fortissima.
Yeah, he mentioned that it's his favorite deck and he's been playing it for a long time. He expected the field to be Shizu, and it was right, 32% of the deck. So it's working out for him, especially with some of the tech cards that he has in his deck, such as the Shifter, and he proved that it is the best matchup for him. So just before closing out, I'm gonna ask you, how does it feel? Is it your first time trying to reach for a top cut? And do you have any shoutouts, I guess? So ti volevo dire semplicemente se è la tua prima volta per arrivare a una top di un torneo così grande.
No, tante altre volte.
Ok, bene. E se hai semplicemente un saluto da fare a qualcuno.
Sì, sono stato già diverse volte vicino alla top, purtroppo sempre per poco non ci sono mai entrato. E voglio salutare tutti i miei amici della Liguria, in particolare di Pietraligure, di Savona, i posti dove faccio i local, e ci vediamo settimana prossima.
Okay, so he just mentioned that multiple times he was close and he lost on the bubble, so this time we wish him good luck to finally reach the top 64. He has great chances here with last 2 rounds, and finally that was an Italian shutout to his friends back in Liguria. So thank you for being with us, congrats again for winning, and thank you guys. That was round 10. We'll be back quite shortly with round 11 from YCS Lyon.